How many times have you told yourself, starting tomorrow, everything changes? You lie in bed the night before, feeling that surge of motivation. You set multiple alarms. You imagine this perfect version of yourself, waking up early, studying for hours with complete focus, exercising, eating healthy, being organized and productive. You can see it so clearly in your mind. Then tomorrow actually arrives. The first alarm goes off. You hit snooze, then the second alarm, snooze again and again. You finally drag yourself out of bed an hour later than you planned, already feeling defeated before the day even started. You're rushing, you're stressed, you skip breakfast, and the day becomes this blur of trying to catch up. By evening, you're exhausted but somehow haven't accomplished what you wanted to. The guilt settles in. That voice in your head starts, "You're so lazy. Why can't you just get it together? Everyone else seems to manage just fine." And you promise yourself that tomorrow will be different. But deep down, you know it probably won't be. If this cycle sounds painfully, almost embarrassingly familiar, I need you to hear this. You're not lazy. You're not undisciplined. You're not broken or lacking willpower. You simply don't have a system that works with how your brain and body actually function. You're trying to force yourself into routines designed for productivity robots, not actual human beings with real limitations and needs. Let me show you a daily routine that's balanced, realistic, and designed for real students living real lives. Not some fantasy schedule that looks impressive on paper but falls apart the moment real life happens. A routine you can actually stick with because it works with your natural rhythms, not against them. Why structure actually sets you free? Before we dive into the specific routine, you need to understand why having structure matters in the first place. Because I know what you're thinking. Routines sound boring. I don't want to live my life on a schedule. I want freedom and flexibility. Here's the paradox: structure actually creates freedom. Let me explain with an analogy. Think about your phone. Without regular charging, without proper maintenance, without the right apps and organization, it starts slowing down. Apps crash, the battery dies at the worst moments. Eventually, it becomes basically useless for what you need it to do. Your brain works exactly the same way. Without proper rest, without adequate nutrition, without clear structure for managing your energy and attention, your mental performance crashes. You feel foggy, you can't focus, you forget things, everything takes twice as long as it should. Most students struggle not because they're not smart enough. Intelligence is rarely the issue. They struggle because they don't know how to effectively organize their time and energy. They make one of two mistakes. Either they try to do everything and burn themselves out completely, or they drift aimlessly without direction and fall hopelessly behind. A solid daily routine is like installing an operating system on your computer. It provides the foundation that allows everything else to run smoothly. It removes the constant mental burden of deciding what to do next. It keeps you consistent even when motivation vanishes. And trust me, motivation will vanish regularly. That's when your routine becomes the structure that carries you forward. Morning, building your foundation, the wake up strategy that actually works. Let's get real about wake up times. You don't need to torture yourself with some insane 4 a.m. routine you saw on social media. Those extreme schedules make for impressive content, but they're completely unsustainable for most people. You'll stick with it for maybe 3 days before burning out completely. Waking up anywhere between 6 and 7:30 a.m. works perfectly fine for the vast majority of students. The exact time matters less than two other factors: consistency and what you do immediately after waking. Here's where most students sabotage themselves right from the start. The alarm goes off, and within seconds, literally seconds, they're reaching for their phone. They tell themselves they're just checking the time or just seeing if anything important happened. But what actually happens? You open your phone and immediately dive into a flood of information. There are messages from friends, social media notifications showing you what everyone else is doing, news headlines designed to trigger emotional reactions, emails that create instant stress. Someone posted something that makes you feel inadequate or jealous or angry, and just like that, before you've even sat up in bed, your brain is hijacked. Your mental state is shaped by dozens of other people's priorities, emotions, and agendas. You've started your day in pure reaction mode. You're already behind, already overwhelmed, already operating from a place of stress and comparison. Here's what you do instead. And yes, it requires real discipline at first. When your alarm goes off, sit up immediately. Don't give yourself time to negotiate. Sit up, put your feet on the floor, stretch your arms above your head, and take 3 deep breaths. Then stand up and drink a full glass of water that you left on your nightstand the night before. Your body is genuinely dehydrated after 7 or 8 hours without water, that foggy, sluggish feeling you have every morning. A significant part of that is just dehydration. Open your curtains or window. Let natural light hit your eyes. This signals to your brain that it's daytime, that it's time to wake up. It starts regulating your circadian rhythm naturally, which makes waking up easier over time. Spend just 2 minutes sitting quietly, breathing deeply, and asking yourself, what's one thing that would make today feel successful? Not five things, not your entire to do list. just one specific thing. This simple morning sequence, sitting up immediately, drinking water, getting light, setting one intention, completely changes how your entire day unfolds. You start from a place of calm presence instead of reactive chaos. Movement, the non negotiable. 5 minutes. I know what you're thinking. I don't have time to work out in the morning. I can barely get out of bed as it is. And I hear you. I'm not asking you to hit the gym at 6 a.m. or run 5 miles before breakfast. I'm asking for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of movement. And before you dismiss this as too small to matter, understand the science behind why it's so powerful. When you sleep, your body is essentially in power saving mode. Your heart rate drops, your breathing slows, your muscles are inactive, your brain is doing important work during sleep, but your body is still. When you wake up and immediately sit down for breakfast or hunker down to study, your body never really wakes up. You're trying to operate at full capacity while your system is still in low power mode. 5 minutes of movement changes everything. It doesn't have to be intense. Stretch every major muscle group. Do some yoga poses if you know any. Do jumping jacks, push ups, or squats. Walk around your space with purpose. Dance to one song you love. Even just moving your body dynamically through space for 5 minutes. Here's what this does: it increases blood flow throughout your entire body. More blood flow means more oxygen reaching your brain. Your brain needs oxygen to function properly, to think clearly, to focus and retain information. When you move before studying, you're literally increasing your brain's capacity to learn. Plus, movement releases endorphins and other neurochemicals that improve mood, reduce stress, and increase energy. You'll feel more awake, more alert, more ready to tackle your day. And all of this from just 5 minutes that you probably spent hitting snooze anyway. Breakfast. Fuel your brain properly. Here's a stat that might surprise you. Your brain represents only about 2% of your body weight, but it uses roughly 20% of your body's total energy. Think about that. Your brain is an incredibly energy intensive organ. It's constantly working, processing information, forming memories, making decisions, regulating your entire body. When you skip breakfast, you're asking your brain to perform at its peak while running on empty. That's why you feel tired during morning classes. That's why you can't focus. That's why you get irritable or feel your mood crash. It's not laziness or lack of discipline. Your brain is literally starving for energy. But here's the catch: not all breakfast is created equal. If you eat something high in sugar, like sugary cereal, pastries, or juice, you'll get a quick spike in energy followed by a crash that leaves you feeling worse than before. Your blood sugar spikes, insulin floods your system, and then you crash hard. What you need is sustained energy from a balanced breakfast, and this doesn't have to be complicated or time consuming. Here are some simple, effective options: scrambled eggs with whole grain toast, oatmeal with some nuts and fruit, Greek yogurt with granola, a smoothie with protein powder, banana, and spinach, peanut butter on whole wheat toast. The key is combining protein, complex carbohydrates, and some healthy fat. This combination provides steady energy that lasts for hours instead of a quick spike and crash. And please, drink water with breakfast, then keep drinking water throughout the day. Here's something most people don't realize: the symptoms of dehydration are almost identical to the symptoms of tiredness. Brain fog, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, irritability. These can all be caused by inadequate water intake. So many times when you think, "I'm so lazy today," or "I just can't focus," your body is actually screaming, "I'm thirsty." Carry a water bottle with you everywhere and sip from it regularly. It's one of the simplest, most effective things you can do for your mental performance. Morning study. Capturing your peak performance hours. Here's something you need to understand about your brain: it's not equally capable throughout the day. This isn't opinion or personal preference, it's neuroscience. Your brain has natural energy rhythms, and for most people, cognitive function peaks in the morning hours. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For thousands of years, humans were most active and alert during daylight hours after waking, when they needed to hunt, gather food, and solve problems to survive. Your brain is literally wired to be sharpest in the morning. So why on earth would you waste these precious peak performance hours scrolling social media or watching random videos? Why would you use your best mental energy on things that don't matter and save studying for late at night when your brain is exhausted? Instead, use your morning study session for your most challenging subject. The one you struggle with most, the material that requires deep thinking and concentration. For some of you, that's math or physics. For others, it's writing essays or understanding complex theories. Whatever requires your fullest mental capacity, do that in the morning. Here's the study technique that actually works: focus time blocks with real breaks. Work intensely for 45 to 50 minutes. During this time, you're doing one thing and only one thing. No multitasking, no checking your phone real quick, no having multiple tabs open, no background TV or distracting music with lyrics. Just you and the material. This is harder than it sounds because we've trained ourselves to constantly switch between tasks and seek new stimulation every few minutes. Your brain will resist this at first. You'll feel the urge to check your phone to see what's happening, to browse just for a second. Notice those urges and let them pass without acting on them. After 45 to 50 minutes of focused work, take a real 10-minute break, and this is crucial. During your break, don't switch to different mental stimulation like social media or videos. That's not actually giving your brain a break, that's just shifting your attention to different content. Instead, stand up, stretch your body, walk around your space or outside if possible. Look out a window at something far away to rest your eyes, drink water, maybe do a few squats or push ups to get blood flowing again. Give your brain and body actual rest, not just different stimulation. One focused morning hour using this technique equals 3 distracted evening hours. That's not an exaggeration. When you study with complete focus, your brain processes and retains information exponentially better than when you're half focused while multitasking. Afternoon. Active learning and strategic recovery transform how you attend classes. Whether you're in high school, college, or university, you probably spend a significant portion of your afternoon in classes or lectures. And this is exactly where most students lose the battle for effective learning. They sit there. Maybe they take some notes, copying what's on the board or what the teacher says. They nod along. Their body is present, but their mind is somewhere else. They're passively receiving information rather than actively engaging with it. And then they wonder why nothing sticks, why they have to relearn everything from scratch when studying for exams. Here's how you transform passive attendance into active learning. First, take notes in your own words. Don't just transcribe what you hear or see. Process the information first, then write down what it means in language that makes sense to you. This forces your brain to engage with the material, to understand it, rather than just record it. Second, ask questions. Even small questions demonstrate engagement and help clarify concepts. Most students sit silently, afraid of looking stupid. But asking questions is how you actually learn. No one ever became knowledgeable by pretending they already knew everything. Third, and this is the secret weapon that almost nobody uses, immediately after each class or each major section of a lecture, spend just 2 to 3 minutes doing a quick review. Write down or say out loud the key points you just learned. What were the main concepts? What's one thing you found interesting or surprising? What's still confusing? This immediate review is incredibly powerful. You're essentially learning the material twice, once during class, once during your review, without any additional time investment, and this makes future studying exponentially easier because you've already processed and organized the information. Think of your brain like a filing system. Active learning is taking each piece of information and deliberately filing it in the right place where you can find it later. Passive learning is just dumping information in a pile and hoping you can sort through it eventually. The afternoon energy slump solution. After several hours of classes and mental work, your brain and body are legitimately tired. This is completely normal and expected. Your brain has been working hard, burning through glucose and mental energy. Your body has been sitting relatively still for extended periods. What most students do at this point is eat a massive, heavy lunch, maybe something fried, greasy, loaded with refined carbohydrates, and then collapse on their bed or couch scrolling their phone, and then they wonder why they feel absolutely terrible for the rest of the afternoon. Here's what's happening. When you eat a large, heavy meal, your body diverts significant blood flow and energy to your digestive system to process all that food. Less blood flow to your brain means less oxygen and nutrients reaching it. Your mental clarity drops, you feel sluggish and sleepy. You might get that food coma feeling where you can barely keep your eyes open. Here's the better strategy. Eat lighter, more frequent meals throughout your day rather than one enormous lunch that knocks you out. Focus on balanced nutrition, some protein like eggs, lentils, chicken, or fish, some vegetables or fruit, and some complex carbohydrates like whole grains. Avoid or minimize heavy fried foods and sugary drinks that cause energy crashes. After eating, give yourself a strategic recovery period. You have two good options here. Option 1, take a brief power nap of 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Set an alarm because if you sleep longer, you'll enter deeper sleep stages and wake up feeling groggy and disoriented. A short nap can dramatically restore mental energy and alertness. Option 2, go for a 10 to 15-minute walk outside. Fresh air, natural light, and movement wake up both your body and mind. Even a brief walk significantly improves focus, mood, and energy levels. Think of this as hitting the reset button. Your brain has been learning intensively for hours. It deserves a short break before tackling more work. This isn't laziness or wasting time. It's strategic recovery that actually makes you more productive in the hours that follow. Afternoon study strategy. Now, here's something important to understand about your brain's natural energy patterns. You're slower in the afternoon compared to the morning. Your cognitive peak has passed. Your mental energy is lower. Fighting this natural rhythm is exhausting and ineffective. Instead, work with it strategically. Afternoons are perfect for active, hands-on practice rather than learning brand new, complex concepts. This is the ideal time for solving practice problems, doing exercises from your textbook, working through past exam papers, making flashcards, creating summaries of material you've already learned, or writing essays and reports. Notice what all these activities have in common. They require active doing rather than passive receiving. They keep you engaged through activity. When your mental energy is lower, active tasks work much better than trying to absorb difficult new information. Here's a practical example. If you're studying math, don't try to learn completely new types of problems in the afternoon. Instead, practice problems from concepts you learned in the morning or earlier in the week. If you're studying history, don't try to memorize entirely new chapters in the afternoon. Instead, create summaries or flashcards for material you've already read. The principle is simple. Because your brain is naturally slower in the afternoon, don't waste that time on high concentration work that requires peak mental clarity. Save the hardest, newest material for your morning session when your brain is fresh. Use afternoons for practice, review, and application. Evening, recharge, create, and reinforce movement. Part 2, the essential evening reset. After a full day of classes, studying, and mental work, your body feels heavy. Your mind feels fried. Every muscle in your body is telling you to just collapse and do nothing. And I get it, you're tired. The last thing you feel like doing is moving. But here's the counterintuitive truth: movement is exactly what you need to feel better. Not intense exercise that exhausts you further, but moderate activity that re energizes both body and mind. You don't need to hit the gym or follow some complicated workout routine. Keep it simple and enjoyable. Play whatever sport you genuinely enjoy: basketball, football, tennis, badminton, anything that gets you moving. Go for a run or a long walk outside. Dance in your room to music you love. Do a simple body weight circuit of squats, push ups, and planks. Ride your bike around your neighborhood. The goal isn't to become an athlete or build muscle or lose weight, though those are nice side benefits. The goal is to counteract the physical stagnation of sitting in classes and studying all day, to increase blood flow, to release endorphins that improve mood, to give your mind a complete break from academic thinking. Regular evening movement does something remarkable. It sharpens memory, reduces stress and anxiety, boosts energy levels for the rest of the evening, and significantly improves sleep quality. Students who move regularly in the evening consistently report waking up more focused and alert the next morning. Think of it this way: your body is designed for movement. When you don't move, you're working against your biology. When you do move, everything functions better: your physical health, your mental clarity, your emotional stability, even your academic performance. Creative time, protecting your humanity. Here's something crucial that almost every student gets wrong. They think they should spend every possible moment studying if they want to succeed academically. They feel guilty anytime they're not directly working on schoolwork. They sacrifice hobbies, interests, and creative pursuits in the name of productivity. But this is completely backwards. The best students, the ones who perform well academically while also maintaining their sanity and happiness, don't study constantly. They deliberately make time for hobbies and creative pursuits outside of academics. Why? Because creativity and play aren't luxuries. They're necessities for a healthy, functioning brain. They prevent burnout, which is the number one killer of student success. They maintain motivation and enthusiasm, which studying alone cannot do. They provide a sense of identity and purpose beyond grades and achievement. And they often develop skills and reveal passions that shape your entire future. So every day, dedicate some time to something creative or enjoyable that has nothing to do with your studies. Draw or paint. Write stories, poetry, or journal entries. Play a musical instrument. Work on personal projects. Cook or bake something new. Build things. Sing, dance, or act. Learn a language just for fun. Whatever genuinely interests you and brings you joy. This isn't wasted time. This is time that keeps you human, that reminds you there's more to life than grades and exams, that gives your brain completely different neural pathways to develop. Some of the most successful people in the world credit their hobbies and creative pursuits with giving them the perspective, resilience, and innovative thinking that made them successful. Evening study, light review, and organization. After you've moved your body and engaged your creative side, you can do a final light study session. But notice I said light. This is absolutely not the time for learning difficult new material or tackling your hardest subjects. Your brain is tired at this point in the day. Trying to force intensive learning now is inefficient and frustrating. Instead, use this time for review and organization. Go through the notes you took today in classes, read over them, clarify anything confusing, add additional details you remember. Solve a few easy to medium practice problems for subjects you're working on. Review flashcards. Create simple summaries or outlines. Also use this time to plan and organize for tomorrow. What do you need to bring? What's your schedule? What are your top priorities? Pack your bag. Lay out your clothes if that saves time. Remove tomorrow's friction today. Here's why evening review is so valuable even though you're tired. You're reinforcing what you learned earlier in the day. You're moving information from short-term memory into long-term memory through repetition and review. This spaced repetition, learning something, then reviewing it several hours later, is one of the most effective learning strategies backed by cognitive science. Do this consistently, light evening review every day, and you'll notice something remarkable. When exam time comes, you're not cramming and stressing because you've been steadily building knowledge all along. Material that would have faded from memory is instead firmly embedded because you reviewed it regularly. Night. Prepare for tomorrow's success, planning tomorrow today. Here's a psychological insight that will change how you approach each day. Your brain is constantly trying to keep track of unfinished tasks and upcoming obligations. This creates what psychologists call cognitive load, mental energy spent on remembering and worrying about things you need to do. When you lie down to sleep with a head full of unfinished tasks and unclear plans for tomorrow, your brain can't fully relax. Part of it stays alert, trying to hold on to all that information so you don't forget. And this is why you sometimes lie in bed at night and your mind just won't shut off. It's not that you're anxious or overthinking. Your brain is just trying to do its job of remembering what matters. Here's the solution. Spend 5 to 10 minutes every evening planning tomorrow before you get into bed. Write down 3 to 5 specific tasks you absolutely want to accomplish, not vague intentions like study biology or work on essay. Specific concrete actions. Read and take notes on Chapter 7 of biology textbook. Write introduction and first body paragraph of history essay. Complete practice problems 15 through 30 in math workbook. When you externalize your plan by writing it down, you're basically telling your brain, I've got this, it's recorded. You don't need to keep track of it anymore, you can rest now. Your brain relaxes because it knows there's a system in place. The information won't be lost. This simple practice dramatically improves sleep quality and reduces nighttime anxiety. You go to bed feeling organized and in control rather than overwhelmed and worried, and you wake up with immediate clarity about what your day looks like rather than wasting morning energy figuring out what to do. Digital sunset. Reclaim your evening. This is probably the hardest habit on this entire list and also one of the most impactful. At least 30 minutes before you want to be asleep, ideally a full hour, put away all screens. Phone, laptop, tablet, TV, everything. I know this sounds extreme. I know you're probably thinking of a dozen reasons why you can't do this, but hear me out on the science because this isn't just some arbitrary rule. Screens emit blue light, which suppresses your body's production of melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to sleep. When you're staring at screens right up until bedtime, you're essentially telling your body it's still daytime, stay alert, even though you want to sleep. Beyond the blue light issue, the content you consume on screens activates your brain. Whether it's exciting, stressful, emotional, funny, or just mildly interesting, it's stimulation. Your brain interprets stimulation as a signal to be alert and engaged, not to wind down and rest. This is why you can scroll TikTok or Instagram until 2 a.m. even when you're exhausted. It's not that the content is so compelling you can't stop. It's that each piece of content, each video, each post gives your brain a little hit of novelty and stimulation that keeps you engaged. You're caught in a loop of seeking the next interesting thing. So what do you do during that screen-free hour? Replace digital stimulation with genuinely restful activities. Read a physical book, something light and enjoyable, not stressful homework. Listen to calm music or a relaxing podcast. Journal about your day, what went well, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling. Have an actual conversation with family or roommates. Do some gentle stretching or light yoga. Take a warm shower. Just sit quietly and let your mind wander. Give your brain permission to transition from the active, alert state of your day to the calm, restful state it needs for quality sleep. The first few nights feel uncomfortable because you're breaking a deeply ingrained habit. You'll feel bored. You'll feel the urge to check your phone. That's normal. Push through it. After a week or two, you'll notice you fall asleep faster, sleep more deeply, wake up more rested, and feel less anxious overall. That hour before bed, which used to be wasted on mindless scrolling, becomes time you actually value and enjoy. Sleep, the foundation of everything. Let me be absolutely clear about this. Sleep is not optional. It's not something you sacrifice when you're busy or stressed. It's not a luxury for people who have time. Sleep is the biological foundation that every other aspect of your life is built on. Here's what happens when you sleep. Your brain processes everything you learned during the day and consolidates it into long-term memory. It clears out metabolic waste products that accumulated during waking hours. It repairs and strengthens neural connections. It regulates hormones that control hunger, mood, and stress. Your entire body recovers and prepares for the next day. When you sacrifice sleep to study more, you're literally sabotaging your own learning. All that information you tried to cram, your brain can't properly consolidate it into memory without adequate sleep. You're working harder but learning less. It's counterproductive in the most literal sense. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night, not just on weekends when you catch up. Every night. Keep your room cool. Around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal for most people. Keep it as dark as possible or use a sleep mask. Keep it quiet or use earplugs or a white noise machine if needed. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time every day helps regulate your body's circadian rhythm, making both falling asleep and waking up significantly easier. I know the temptation to stay up late studying, especially before exams, but the research is absolutely clear. Students who get adequate sleep consistently perform better academically than students who sacrifice sleep to study more hours. Better sleep means better focus, better memory, better problem solving, better emotional regulation, and better physical health. The mindset that makes it all work. You now have a complete, realistic routine. But here's the truth: the routine is useless without the right mindset to support it. So let's address the mental traps that sabotage most students. First, stop comparing your routine to people who claim they study 12 or 14 hours a day. Most of them are either lying, exaggerating, counting every moment they're near their books as studying even when they're distracted, or genuinely burning themselves out in unsustainable ways. You don't need to study as many hours as someone else. You need to study effectively during the hours you do study. Quality always beats quantity. 4 hours of genuinely focused, effective studying produces better results than 10 hours of distracted, inefficient studying. Stop measuring your worth by hours logged and start measuring it by actual learning accomplished. Second, consistency beats intensity every single time. It's far more effective to study 4 hours every day for a month than to study 12 hours a day for 3 days and then burn out completely. Real learning, real growth, real transformation, they all come from consistent daily effort compounded over time. Third, don't be afraid of imperfection and mistakes. You will mess up this routine. You'll have off days. You'll fall back into old habits sometimes. That's not failure, that's being human. What separates successful students from unsuccessful ones isn't that they never mess up, it's that they restart the next day instead of giving up entirely. When you have a bad day, when you completely blow your routine, when you waste hours on distractions, and this will happen, just acknowledge it without judgment and start fresh the next morning. One bad day doesn't undo all your progress, only giving up completely does that. Your starting point. You now have a complete framework: morning foundation with intentional wake up, movement, and proper nutrition; morning study using your peak mental hours for hardest work; afternoon with active class engagement, strategic recovery, and practice focused studying; evening with movement, creative time, and light review; night with planning, digital sunset, and protected sleep. Each part of this routine supports every other part. Your morning sets up your afternoon. Your afternoon determines your evening energy. Your evening preparation creates your next morning. It's all connected. But don't try to implement everything tomorrow. That's a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Instead, start with one piece. Maybe begin with the morning routine, just the wake up sequence and breakfast. Get comfortable with that for a few days. Then add the morning study session, then the afternoon strategies. Build your routine gradually, one piece at a time. Small, consistent actions compound into remarkable results over time. In 30 days of following even part of this routine, you'll notice significant changes: more focus, less stress, better grades, more free time, improved mood, better health. In 6 months, you'll look back and barely recognize your old patterns and struggles. The perfect routine isn't one that looks impressive on paper. It's one you can actually maintain in real life. Build yours starting today and watch how everything in your life begins to shift.